Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this committee meeting with the grants. First of all, could we have any apologies for absence?
Thank you, Chairman. I've received apologies from Councillor Costello.
And no more?
Nothing else now.
Thank you. Thank you. The second item on the agenda is the minutes of the last meeting, which were previously circulated. If no one has any comments upon that, then record this as accepting as a true record of the meeting. Is everyone in agreement? Item 3 is urgent business. I have not been notified of any. I don't know if anything has happened in the last couple of hours.
No, Chairman.
No urgent business.
No.
And the public speaking time, we have one person, and that is the applicant for the grant. So I would propose that this lady be invited to speak at the time when her grant is being discussed. Members present, are there any declarations of interest? No, thank you. So item 6, project grants. We have only one application, and the applicant, Mrs. Salvage, is here today, but Liam, who is the administration's officer for grants, if you would like to present first of all before we invite Mrs. Salvage to speak.
Thank you, Chair. So this is an individual application seeking a grant of £500. It meets the criteria under the individual section named arts, so supporting individuals and projects in the following art forms: multimedia arts activities such as film, video and digital arts. I've outlined the project description, which is a fine art film detailing the effect of COVID-19 on the community of Badgeworth. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Badgeworth.
Sorry. Thank you. So that's all I have to say. I think it's probably best coming from Tina to outline her project, and members can ask any questions about the project costs or any other details. So Tina, over to you.
So if everyone is in agreement, I would like to invite Mrs. Salvage now to present her application and possibly to take questions from members. Mrs. Salvage, if you can hear.
Yes, fine. Okay. Well, I'll start then. My name is Tina Salvage, and I'm an artist who lives in a small rural village called Badgeworth in Sedgemoor. After a career in law, I retrained as an artist and recently graduated from the University of West of England with a first-class degree in fine art. My work is mainly, but not exclusively, video art, and I've recently had work selected for the International Wales Art Contemporary Exhibition. I've also been awarded a Spike Island Associateship in Bristol and a small bursary to help develop this project. I've exhibited in Western Bristol in London. My proposal is to involve members of the community to participate in multimedia arts and the visual arts with an exhibition of the work at the end of the project with online links. This will be a testament to local people's experience of COVID and lockdown in the community. The project will develop new opportunities for people to be involved in their community and provide activities for local people with specific groups targeted who do not currently engage with the arts. The project will be a new initiative for the rural community to participate in. I would conduct interviews and engage participation through a series of workshops and activities and discussions. I will target a diverse group of participants and those currently underrepresented in the involvement with the arts, as identified by the Arts Council and my own research, mainly non-university educated manual workers, the retired and housebound, and young families. The project will involve digital film, visual work such as painting and arts and crafts, and storytelling in a contemporary narrative around a response to COVID-19. It will strengthen networks and build a community of support in a time of pandemic. I have experience of running workshops and engaging members of the public directly in the formation of ideas culminating in art. I have developed projects using film and interviews engaging with the public. The benefits of the project will be to build a stronger community, broaden people's experiences of art, enable public health objectives by improving mental health through socialising, creating a place identity and a sense of belonging through participation, and build social capital by bringing together different groups of residents in an area that has poor access to it due to COVID, geographic, economic or social constraints. I have already secured a small bursary from Spike Island and UWE. I have an Arts Council application that is pending. If I were to be awarded a Sedgemoor grant, this would enable me to realise this project and to hire COVID-safe facilities and run the project over the next 6 months. And I would voluntarily give my time to realise the project if the Arts Council funding doesn't come through. Thank you for your time, and please feel free to ask me any questions.
Thank you very much. That is an extremely interesting proposal. Members, are there any comments or questions you would like to ask Mrs. Salvage? Charlie, your hand is up. You're on mute.
All right, thank you very much, Chair. Very interesting, Tina. Thank you. It's very interesting. You're targeting producing a record of what's happening now, and this will be interesting in years to come. So one aspect of it it would be interesting to see, and maybe you're already doing this, is where is this going to be archived?
Well,
I mean, will the material be available perhaps in the Somerset Records Office, or, you know, maybe in 15 years' time, if people are doing a study of how people got on under COVID, where would somebody go and find this?
Well, initially I was thinking of, I've already spoken to the parish council and they'd be prepared to have like an online link to it. I've also got like my own Vimeo account and website, so there'd be links on that and any other sort of organisations who might be interested. But yes, I think the Somerset Archive Office would be a good, you know, I'd obviously have to speak to them and see if they'd be interested in holding it in an archive as well. So yes, I mean, I'm thinking along those times that very much being a sort of a memorialisation of people's experiences and their particular circumstances, because we are all going to forget, as you say, hopefully in 10 years' time, how terrible things have been.
Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Brian Bolt, you had your hand up next.
Sorry, Chair, I may have been raising my cup of tea to my lips rather than my hand up.
Oh, you, in that case, pass to Councillor Lee Redman. You had your hand up.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Tina, for your presentation. I think this sounds a really exciting project. My question, I suppose, is it may be a little bit of a bonus for you. If it works, if you're lucky enough to get funding and it works in this area, were you thinking of maybe taking your project elsewhere? Because obviously the village life, Sedgemoor is a very diverse community, and it may be an opportunity to perhaps roll out and get different perspectives of how things have impacted them in different areas.
Yes, I did think about it initially, but when I was drawing up the plan for this project, I thought it would be better to start on a smaller scale and see, you know, how successful that is and how people become engaged. And then I certainly think there is scope in the longer term for looking at the local halls and facilities in the county, which are under sort of utilised at the moment. And obviously they should be the hubs of the villages. So it would be a scheme that I think it could be rolled out. I mean, I am a member of Somerset Arts Works, and it's something that I think they would probably be interested in as well. So I'm going to see how this project goes. I've got some links with Somerset Artworks. I've just been told from them that they're going to mentor me towards the Somerset Artworks in September. which would be helpful for this project. So I think in the longer term, it could certainly be of wider benefit.
Mhm.
Thank you. Chair, I forgot to add on, I think this is a really exciting project, and I look forward to, if we're able to support it, seeing the outcome. So I'm happy to make the formal proposal for the full amount, subject to the additional details funding that she makes reference to. So if that helps, Chair.
Thank you very much. Are there any other questions or comments? No, I fully agree that this is a very exciting and it's a lovely project, and I would wish it all success. Since it has been proposed, I'm happy to second that and put it to the vote. Would you please signify all in agreement, please? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That looks like a unanimous vote for. Yes, Graham's got his hand up as well. That has been carried unanimously. So congratulations. You have been awarded the full amount that you have asked for.
Oh, thank you very much.
And will you stay in touch with us as things progress?
Yes, no, definitely.
Thank you.
Okay, shall I leave the meeting now then? Is that?
If you would like to stay for matter of interest, you're very welcome, because the rest of the agenda, there's nothing confidential on here.
Okay, yeah, I'll stay, and it won't. Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, no, lovely. Thank you.
Thank you. So move on to item number 7, and that is the RLT2 funding. Amongst the agenda pack, we were given the amounts of money left. It's on 2 sides. It's this one. I can't share my screen. Has everyone received that? Because and on the other side of it is the RLT3, which is a very small item. And Liam, have you any update on this, or as it stands to note? You're muted.
Sorry, Chair. I believe this is for Scott Mason or another officer to manage the RLT3 funding. Layla, are you able to confirm if another officer is here to answer the Chair's questions?
No, this is just for note report. If there are any specific questions, then I can take a note of them and ask the officer. But no, because this is just a reports to note on the balances that are available for RLT2 and 3. I didn't ask the officers to attend, but if there are specific questions, then please, I'm quite happy to pass those through.
Chair, if it helps, I'm happy. I've read it through. I'm happy to propose we note, unless anyone has any other points.
Thank you very much. Is there a seconder for that, please?
Yes, I'll second that.
Seconded by Councillor Liz Perry. All in agreement that it's noted. That looks like a unanimous vote. Thank you very much. And last item is item number 8, and it's some temporary changes to the grants criteria. Liam, would you care to present your comments?
Thank you, Chair. Let me just full screen this. So yeah, I've got 3 points to make. The first one is point 8, which is that I'm seeking approval to the temporary changes made to the Small Grants Awards Subcommittee criteria, which was passed. The resolution was passed at the last meeting to support groups who've been negatively affected by COVID-19. So attached in the appendices is the updated criteria. So that's the first point. I don't know if it's worth going through. I've got 2 more points on that, which involves an extension to the date for that, or if it's worth having an agreement first on whether or not the criteria is passable.
At the last meeting, we did agree certain changes, and this is merely a slight variation on what we agreed at last meeting.
Yes, so in the criteria which you've all been sent, I've tried to implement the changes that were passed, capturing all of the comments that were made from the report that I made, and of how we could support the groups. So firstly so that is the official criteria. So unless there are any comments or changes that members would like to propose, then I'd like to progress with it. The second is for an extension for the date by which applications for the emergency relief may be made. In the original meeting, the date was the 10th of December. In order to give groups lots of time, I'd like to seek an extension of that date to be made to the 28th of February. So groups can apply for that 10k pot to support them up to the 28th of February. And then the last point is to seek an extension to emergency decision-making powers of the committee for the COVID relief funding, which would be until the 7th of March 2021, to enable any applications for emergency relief made by the 28th of February to be considered by members. Because currently, as it stands, the 10th of December, when I'd finished the criteria, it wouldn't have left enough time for groups to apply for it.
Thank you. Members, now, are there any questions over this very slight tweaking of what has been agreed? Brian, please do.
I think in view of the fact that everything's been extended, I think we're all hoping that we'll be seeing the end of this in December, but we're not going to see the end of this before the next year. So yeah. I think it's only fair that these extensions have taken place with a view we should be able to review them at that time. I think it's a very fair assumption to extend them.
That's a reasonable summary. Are there any other questions or a slight difference on that view? It looks as though that summary is agreed by all. As it is in the agenda, I think therefore we need a formal proposal that your slight changes should be made. Brian, are you signaling to speak again or to propose?
I'd quite happily propose that.
Thank you. Charlie, you had your hand up. Are you seconding?
Yes, I'm happy to second, Chair.
Thank you. Graham, you had your hand up. Was it for another?
No, I was just happy to second as well.
Well, that has been properly proposed and seconded. Now, may we have a vote? Thank you. To agree. That has been agreed unanimously. Thank you very much. Now, that is
Chair.
all the business of today.
Chair, sorry, I had two more points that I'd like to draw attention to. They are quick. So firstly, I want to bring to the attention of members that in the new year for the next grants committee, I'll prepare a report which will seek members' formal approval for extensions to groups who are unable to deliver their activities or complete their activities because of restrictions that were placed upon them by COVID-19. So far, there are 4 groups, but I will be confirming that in the new year because they're in the original agreement. They're given a year to carry out their activities, but fortunately, some of them weren't able to do so. So I'll be liaising with them to look at what options they have got in the new year, what other options they would have or they would consider if they were unable to deliver, and I'll bring that report. So that's just for note. Secondly, I also want to mention for note that in the February committee of this year, members awarded funding to Breen and Barrow Residents Association of £456 to support the group with costs towards hosting a VE Day party. Due to circumstances and not being able to hold their events, they opted to spend the funds on something more permanent by installing a picnic table with concrete foundation on the village green and the planting of a commemorative hawthorn tree in Barrow Cemetery. Both of those will have brass plaques with inscriptions making known that it was to commemorate VE Day and who funded them. Again, this is to mention for note, but if members have an issue with this change in spend, I can bring a report to the February committee for it to be approved retrospectively.
Thank you. Dorothy, from a legal point of view, because that is a slight change in the spending of what was asked for, do we need to retrospectively agree it by the formal protocol of proposing and seconding in February?
I think it would be desirable to do that because then you have a clear audit trail. The
Yes.
issue we have is that members resolved to grant money for a VE Day party. Because of the COVID restrictions, they could no longer have their party, but they wanted to mark VE Day. What they should have done is to get in touch with the grants officer, and then we could have sought approval, but they've spent the money already, and months later, we've become aware of this. It was completely innocent, I feel certain. At the end of the day, they've committed money towards celebrating and remembering VE Day. So to that extent, a memorial or a party are of little consequence, but because the principle is that you awarded money for a specific purpose, i.e. a party, I think for audit purposes, you need to retrospectively say that's either fine, or you do have another option. You could, as a committee, decide, well, they shouldn't have done that, and we do have the right to request the return of the funding. But we are talking about £467. And overall, I think everyone's agreed that it was a jolly good, and if not possibly a better purpose, in that you've got
Yes.
a permanent memorial, if you like. So it is down to members to decide, but should you be minded to debate the matter further, and if you wish to perhaps consider asking for a refund of those monies, which could potentially end in legal action, which would be cost prohibitive because it would cost too much to sue them, not to mention reputational damage to the council. You may wish to consider just saying, well, that was fine, and we've got a record of it, you're aware of it, and we have an audit trail.
Thank you. I think it's the audit trail that's important. Graham, you had your hand up.
Yes, Chair. Sorry, I just wanted to say thank you to Liam, really, for the amount of hard work that he put into this tweak to the funding criteria. So, we've had a lot of conversations about it was actually a reasonably small thing, but I know Liam's put a lot of hard work into it, and it's important to recognise it. The other thing is just a point of order, Chair. I was faffing about trying to switch from phone to Teams when you were doing the declaration of interest. I wasn't sure whether, as ward councillor that includes Badgeworth, I should have declared an interest, given that Tina lives in my ward.
I think Dorothy is the only one who can answer that.
We can retrospectively include that in the minutes. That's fine.
Thank you.
Leila, you wanted to speak?
Thank you, Chairman. All I was going to say on the matter of what Liam was talking about with Breen, I think probably just a briefing note just to detail how much it cost, and I think that would be fine. They've got to show that they use that amount of money that have been agreed by the grants committee, and didn't profit out of it or whatever. That's all I was going to say. And then the other little thing I was going to say, Liam and ourselves, we've all had a chat, and he will be contacting our social media person to publicize the new slightly different grants applications. I will be emailing the parishes and putting in the members bulletin about it. What we're trying to do is obviously encourage all types, all criteria of applications. We do have quite a lot of money still outstanding. So same as last year. I think we did this last year. We'll plug it all around your areas, please. I'll put it in the members bulletin to make sure that all the ward councillors are aware that there is money there. And then obviously Liam will be publishing or getting them to publish the new COVID applications.
Thank you. As there's no further business, it's been really very brisk today. Thank you all very much for attending, and I wish you all a healthy and happy Christmas and New Year, and especially hopes for Liam and their awaited new arrival. All will be well.